I'm Chelsea Zaccato.
And I'm Natalie Heacock.
And this is Lumber Slingers.
Each podcast, we will be bringing you relevant and useful industry information, including interviews with top lumber professionals and discussion of current events in the industry.
Whether it be lumber grading, industry and market trends, or who's who in lumber, we hope to extend your current tally on industry knowledge.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rick Dancer. Welcome to Get Real with Rick Dancer. It's really good to have you guys here. I know we're doing like 2 or 3 shows a night this week. Because we have so much stuff going on, and I'm excited for our next show. We're going to get to that in just a second. We have 2 women. I'm going to call them young women because they're way younger than me in the timber industry, and they have a timber industry related podcast. And so I want you guys to hear from them because the podcast is cool and I want them to talk a little bit about that. But the 2 of them are really super cool. And I'm doing a story on them. You'll see coming up with our Truth About Timber series that's coming up. And I was going through the video today, and these 2 women are just really smart and kind and compassionate. They have everything that you need to make an interesting person. So I'm sure their podcast is really interesting. Our podcast is brought to you by good friend, Dr. Michael Bratton with Chris Dental Family Dentistry. Michael's the best guy, but he gets me in so much trouble. He always wants to do, hey, Rick, let's do a billboard and you can be in it. And I'm going, oh, yeah. And then I'll be the one that everybody hates. And he says, yeah, that's why I want you in the billboard with me. That's my good friend, Michael Bratton. He's a great dentist, though, and I still go to him. I live in Montana now, and when I go home, I do my teeth cleanings and my checkups and all that kind of stuff. So he's a good guy. News today. So you guys know this effort. There's a recall effort of Governor Tina Kotek, and it got stalled up. Their deadline was Monday. They were supposed to have all their signatures, but this got stalled up in the courts because there was some kind of weird stuff going on. And Bill Mannix, the guy who is in charge of the petition drive, put together his legal documentation. This guy's pretty amazing. Went to court, lost. Then he went to the appeals court, and today he found out that they're taking his appeal. So that means that everything is kind of on hold. It's not dead. It's on hold. And what he's going to do is he has a court date with the, I think it's the Ninth Circuit Court. He's going down on the 25th. And he also has a group from the RNC, the Republican National Committee. They're going to be helping him. They've seen this. They've looked at his evidence, and they're going, we're interested. We want to get involved in this. So that's really good news. So this will be put on hold until after the 25th, and then he'll go to court to the appeals. And if he wins, he could get an extension and then more time to gather those signatures. So that's, you guys, what's amazing about people is that this is like one guy. He has a bunch of people working with him, a lot of you. But this is one man who's just really compelled, that just thinks this is the thing I need to do. And he's spending his own money doing it. And Bill's not a wealthy man. He's just a regular guy. He's a veteran and just a really cool guy. And he's taken this on. But to me, that is the Oregon spirit. Whether you agree with the governor or not, we should have the right to do what we want to do. And nobody should stop us, especially the government. So that's where we're at. All right, so let's get on to something different. So as you guys know, for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been doing a series called The Truth About Timber. The whole idea of this is to turn the narrative on what the environmental community has done. And I don't even call them that. It's the really anti-logging people. They've done a great job of creating a narrative that is, for the most part, in my opinion, not true. So there's a whole wood is so sustainable. If you go to Ferris Lumber or engineered products, it's not even really lumber anymore. It's timber, and they make it into a product that is stronger than steel and concrete. And they're building warehouses that have biofuel, which I've never heard this before until he said it. And then Chelsea said it too in the interview today. I didn't even know what biofuel was, but we can find that out. But wood is insulatory. It's beautiful. It makes us feel good. It's natural. It has carbon sequestering abilities. So it stores, when you're building with wood, you're actually storing carbon. So you're doing something good for the environment. And we never got told that. We just got told you got to cut them all down. Or, I mean, you can't cut anything down. You can't go into the woods. What we're also finding is that when you don't go in and thin and manage our forests, that you not only destroy wildlife and habitat, but you also destroy tons and tons of material that could be used to build affordable housing. Interesting idea. So today we're going to talk to a couple of women who work with Patrick Lumber Company. And I got to interview them and talk with them and tour the mill and what they're doing. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But they also do a podcast. And I thought that is so cool because I think everybody should be doing podcasts just to talk to people. So I'm going to bring them on. There's Chelsea and Natalie. Welcome to my show, guys. Good to have you.
Hi,
Hey,
thanks for having us.
thank you for the shirt. It fit really well. And I mean, it's short sleeve, so I'm not wearing it as much right now.
Yeah, why aren't you wearing it?
Huh? Well, I have green. I thought you might fall for it.
I almost did.
But I have a long, because you guys, I live in Montana.
Okay, so it's cold now.
Short sleeves from here down, your arms freeze. So,
Okay, we'll forgive you this one time.
okay. So tell me about your podcast. How did this come about? It's called Timber Slingers.
Lumber Slingers.
Lumber Slingers.
Now, what is a lumber slinger?
Well, it's what we do. We buy wood, we sell wood. It's really easy, as our CEO puts it.
Is that what it's
Like the transactions?
Yeah, we make good transactions. Yeah.
Is
That's really it. We honestly, the list of names we came up with for our podcast was hilarious. I went back and revisited it recently, and we landed on Lumber Slingers. We just thought it was catchy, and we could have it was lighthearted. We could have fun, So yeah, Lumber Slingers. I've heard of slingers used in some other terms, like I think there's a coffee slingers. I think there's.
Well, I like
other
it.
business.
No, I think you just need a tagline, lumber slingers, and then, something that describes you
Slinging
guys.
your wood.
Yeah,
Huh?
we'll have to come up with something.
Slinging
Yeah.
your facts.
Well, you had some good ideas. I think that's great. So Natalie, what do you guys focus on? Like, what are some of the things you talk about in this thing?
Well, where the podcast came from was, I think Chelsea and I were together driving, or we were on the phone, and I was newer to the industry than Chelsea, and I was driving from mill to mill and learning, and I wanted something that would, I guess, just reinforce that learning in a podcast form. And so we were both really into podcasts, and we were looking, and there was nothing. I mean, there was literally not a single podcast except for Shannon's Woodworking. We have to give him a shout out. But besides that, we could not find a single podcast. And so we were like, this can't be that hard to start. Like, we'll just start our own, and we'll just see who we can get on here, and it will be an educational tool. And, we originally started it for people who were brand new into the industry and wanted to learn. I mean, if you are just coming into the lumber industry, there are a billion acronyms. I mean, it's insane.
NEPA. What the hell is it? First, people kept saying NEPA. And so when I'm in these meetings and I go over and I Google NEPA, and I'm figuring it out going, oh, because everybody gets used to their slang, or especially in a timber industry, a lot of green chain, all the things that go on, people don't, if you don't work in that, you don't really know what that means.
Right. And if you do work in it, you forget that you know things that other people don't.
Oh.
Like, you say green chain and you're like, oh, everyone knows what a green chain is. But if you're new to the industry, you don't know what green chain is.
So Chelsea, I'm starting to think, so Natalie was new to the industry. I'm kind of thinking that this is totally self-serving. This is how she educates, because you guys, I want you to know, Natalie is the president and CFO of Patrick Lumber Company. And Chelsea is like the head of marketing and trading and that kind of thing. So these are, I mean, I know I don't want to just focus on this, but you guys are kind of a big deal. I mean,
You're so nice.
Well, I get to say that, but these are two women who are still under 40, and you're helping operate a huge business. and you're expanding and doing all kinds of new things. And I mean, so I can see where this is very self-serving, and I mean that in a good way. But that's why I do my podcast. I love to learn. I like being and kind of knowing what's going on in the world. I've always done that with my news business, but with you guys, what a great way to learn. And what do you hope your guests get out of it?
Yeah, I think we hope just that. And it was, I mean, I think it is a little self-serving for both of us because it allowed us a way to get in the door with people and have these conversations that maybe we couldn't have. The podcast is something Natalie and I do as a hobby, and we fund it ourselves. We invest in our own money into it and our own time into it. And so it's a way for us to own something independently that we can go and ask, ask the questions that we have, we're wondering all along. And so, yes, it's self-serving, but we knew we couldn't be the only people that had these questions and wondered, about this industry and the sides of the industry that we're not involved in on the day to day. And it's just given us a really good excuse to network, make more relationships, ask those questions. It's a great resource. I've had two younger guys in the industry in the past couple of weeks that have asked me questions, and I just send them to some of our podcast episodes because we've already asked the question. We've explored that topic, and this might be a really good resource for you to learn from because we had the same questions ourselves. So
How do you decide on your topics? I'm going to do something real fast. I noticed that I'm going to put you over there because your hair was getting cut off by my timing number.
How
And
dare
so
you, Rick?
as the host, I should let my own hair get cut off. Although that is kind of my big deal right there, that hair thing.
you definitely shouldn't be cutting it off.
So you guys
our
said
topics. Oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
go ahead, Natalie. Go ahead.
I was just going to say our topics are what we want to talk about, which is great, and why we decided to do it personally and fund it ourselves, because we didn't want to be on someone else's agenda. So we have topics ranging from, kiln drying into different types of kilns, all the way to points and how do you maximize your points if you're traveling for work. I mean, and everything in between. And we have CEOs and presidents, and we have salespeople, and we have mill managers. I mean, we kind of really just go where we want to go.
So when I was there, you were joking with me. Sometimes you talk about Taylor Swift.
Sometimes, probably every weekly episode, but.
So you guys are, top management at the company. I mean, there's a few people over you, and you have a board and that kind of thing, but you guys are pretty high up in this. Talk to me about, let's pick a topic, culture. I know that's really important to you, setting up a culture in a business. Tell people what you guys have done.
Where do we begin?
Well, and I think it can't be just Natalie or myself. I think there's been a lot of change that has happened, especially because of Natalie's leadership for the better for our culture. It's a group effort, and you have to have everybody's buy-in to work towards a common goal. So just really defining who we are as a company was really important, and communicating that consistently throughout the company. And I think that gives everybody a shared mission and value to be part of something bigger than them. Opening our mill in Philomath was a really big part of us saying, hey, we're here for the long term. We're not just a trading office. And then now we're creating jobs down there. And now we have, now we opened adjacent to the mill, we opened a hardwood mill. And so it's just something that's way bigger than us. And it's really exciting to be part of and to see, and our trading group is just as excited and jacked up as we are about it.
So you guys, and for people out there, somebody's asking what mill. It's Patrick Lumber Mill in Philomath. And they do basically how Natalie described it, because I've been listening to them all day because I'm writing this story, it was like, if it's beautiful wood, that's something they probably created. So it's finished products mostly, moldings, wall panels, anything you want in your house that's beautiful and finished work is what you guys basically do. Is that fair?
So most of what we see at our manufacturing plant in Philomath is rough lumber. We'll kiln dry it there. We might resaw it and grade it to a product. And then from there, we take it a further step. If we finish it into like a siding or a paneling or a flooring, we absolutely do that. We have programs with many distributors. But we're mostly seeing rough lumber at that mill, processing it through, drying it, making a grade out of it, and then taking it to the next step after that. So what you saw at our headquarter building that we lovingly called Timber Hall, you saw a lot of that product in its finished state, flooring, paneling, decking, roof decking.
So Chelsea, I had never heard biofuel before
Mhm.
until this trip, and I was with Ferris Lumber, and the guy said, "Do you feel when we're in one of the warehouses, they shut the door?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, this feels like a Toyota pickup when you shut the doors," and because it was so airtight and so
Okay,
quiet.
I was just there. I know that exact feeling. I was just at Ferris in that exact building,
Okay,
but I'll let
wasn't
Chelsea
that
talk
didn't
about
that
it.
what
But
he said, "What does this
yes.
remind you of?" And then I said that. I said, "It reminds me of my Toyota when you shut the door." That's why I buy Toyotas, because you shut the door and I feel like it seals. It's not like some car like an Acura that goes clank, you know? And but you said the same thing, Natalie?
Yeah, I mean, not the Toyota thing, but
No,
I
but
mean,
you
that building's amazing.
oh, yeah, so you got people doing this and what I love about what you guys are doing though is really that the culture that you have set up because you came in and you guys kind of you know all businesses have had to change, especially since the pandemic. And so one of the comments Natalie said in this video was, I have a lot of friends that work at Nike and places like that, and you're taking things that they're doing at companies like that because you have to compete. The timber industry has to compete for jobs with all these other people like that. And I don't think people think of that very much. And so you've got to be, so you're doing programs like tell them about the Friday thing that you do in the summer.
Our half day Fridays, our summer Fridays.
Yeah.
Yes, I got that from my friend who works at Adidas, and you get to take a half day on Friday, and it was as long as you work your 40 hours during the week, but it wasn't that easy to get passed through at the beginning, and some people still don't love it, but it's a huge benefit. I mean, the people that take advantage of it love it, and I think it's very unusual for a lumber company to offer that type of benefit.
And is that and Chelsea, you guys were talking also. You brought in maternity leave, all kinds of different programs to make it an atmosphere where people really wanted to show up.
Right.
Yeah.
And in just investing in our people. I mean, I truly believe that if you invest in your people, profits will come later. But if you don't have happy people, you don't have people out there representing your company well, you don't have people talking to their customers well. I mean, it kind of goes through the entire chain. And if you don't have look inward first and fix what's wrong with your culture and what's wrong with your people, then the other stuff, it's going to be a lot harder.
Well, what I noticed at the mill too is when you guys walked around with me to get video and stuff, I mean, everybody and everybody smiled. They weren't, I've
That's a
been
good
to
sign.
other, they weren't going, turning around and going, ugh. I mean,
If
I've
they
been
did,
to,
I hope you'd tell us. No.
yeah, no, I've been to mills where you see people and it's just, they're just walking through and kind of doing their thing. But you guys, it's very, what I loved about the trip was very relational. And is that what you're doing with your podcast, is really trying to create this? I think what works for you guys so much is because you're like best friends. You're like a really good friends. So when you have that connection, don't you think that kind of translates into everything else?
Yes.
I think it helps because we're both moving towards the same goal. It's not a competition. Um, it's awesome because we both support each other in our careers as well, and kind of, we believe in each other sometimes more than we believe in ourselves, and that really helps, equalize us and help us help each other. We call ourselves yin and yang all the time because it's like, okay, you're really strong in this right now, and I'm struggling here, and it's inspiring me to like level up to the next level. So it's just, I mean, I'm so fortunate to have a friend like that, and colleague and business partner, because I know that it's far and few between, and it's so important to have when you have big goals to have that type of support, as a company and personally too.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question. Is it okay if I ask it?
I mean, we
It's from
think
a
so.
viewer. Somebody says, "How is the state of Oregon making it harder to stay in business for Patrick Lumber?" It might be what could be easy. What could make it? What could the state do to make it easier for you guys to continue to operate what you're doing? Is that a fair question?
Sure. I mean, well, we moved our headquarters recently from Portland down to Philomath. So
That's interesting.
maybe you want to say that was a move because it was harder to operate in Portland, but actually that move was very beneficial for us and something we probably should have done, years before that, just because it put us by our partners in the valley, and it's had great benefits, and we're all so happy to be there. So maybe that was you could say that was harder, but actually was a benefit for us personally in the long run. The other thing is we just I think we talked about this, Rick, about getting a USDA grant, and I know that's not state of Oregon, that's the federal level, but that's actually opened us up to a lot of other opportunities in Oregon that we weren't aware of. So I know I'm not probably answering the question how the listener wants me to answer it, but I have to say that we just got another Business Oregon grant for our jobs that we're creating. So for us, I think that we didn't know where to look for this stuff. And now we've had a lot of doors open for us. And there is some opportunity in Oregon that we weren't aware of. So it's actually been a little bit different experience for us than maybe the average.
So there were
Oregon
actually
company.
there's actually things the state and government are doing that you had no idea were there. And
Right.
access to those have opened some things up. Cheryl says this is exactly what we need in our world today. Companies taking care of their people, and more than they're taking care of them, they're getting out there with them and stay with them as you guys are forever. And that's really sweet. Yeah. Because don't you think that does, because what are your 4 things? I love those. Chelsea, can you guys, you had to remember them together when I did it.
I always forget one for some reason, but I know them. But
yeah, Chelsea can't. So Chelsea's going to need, this is where they need
So
each
this is
other.
my yin and my yang. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So
we
what are
have
the 4? Because I
we
like
have
those
4
4.
core pillars of our business that more internally we live by, as an example. So we show up, and that means showing up not only to work, but showing up to your customers, to your suppliers, being there to pay attention. You're paying attention to the market. You're paying attention to your customers, your suppliers, your employees, your colleagues, the market, what the market is doing. You're not just logging in and logging off every day. You're creating opportunities, creating products, creating relationships. What did I do? Show up, pay attention, create, and be honest.
Yes.
So you can't really do any of those things if you're not being honest, because one or the other will fall out from under you. So honesty and transparency is very big in our business. It's big in the industry. If you are not, everything's done by a handshake. So, I mean, it used to be, it really still is in a lot of ways, but your reputation precedes you and follows you if you're not honest. So that's something that we take very seriously.
Okay, so Cheryl says, "Oh my God, I'm so excited for you ladies. I got goosebumps." She says, "Rock on." No, I'm telling you, Cheryl, these 2 are the
Rock
real
on,
deal.
Cheryl.
I spent a day with them, and it was just super fun. And I went home to my wife and I said, "That is just like, they're amazing, because I love that you're friends, and I love that you're doing this together, and that you've earned the trust of your employees and your whole board to support you guys in what you're doing and stuff." And that's really cool. And I know the podcast is not about Patrick Lumber, but you guys are creating this thing that I think is pretty interesting to people, because it's very foreign. I never worked for a TV station that gave a shit about anything except my numbers. What kind of numbers is Dancer pulling in? Nothing else. No, I never know highs and buys like that. So what would you like, if you guys look into the future with your podcast, what do you want to turn it like? Where would you like to go with it? You know what I mean? I don't mean make it bigger and, like all of a sudden they're going to leave their timber jobs and go do a podcast. But where do you, what is the real goal for that, for you personally, and also for your audience and your employees?
I think for me, one thing that we struggled with, Chelsea and I did, well, at least I did, I don't know, Chelsea, about you, but at the beginning was just being authentic and being ourselves. Because when we first turned the mics on, we were like, everyone's listening to us, and what are they going to think? And, we kind of had to regroup and come back to center. Actually, we've done it a couple times where we're like, this isn't where we were headed. Like, we have to be our authentic selves. Like, we have to not care if people think that we're dumb because we didn't know what, Katie Lumber is. Like, you just have to kind of get over yourself and your ego. And I think that as long as we continue to do that and we continue to check each other, then where I see the podcast going is just a conversation, an authentic conversation leading the industry. I mean, how cool would it be to get thought leaders on our podcast and talk about what's next and bridging kind of the existing industry with the new and like rising stars, I guess you could say. How cool would that be?
Well, and because I think what people don't understand is how highly technical the timber industry is now. I mean, green chains are kind of foreign in a lot of places anymore. There's computers, and, there's computers that take those logs and tells you how many 2x4s, 2x6s, 2x8s, 1x6s you can get out of a log, and then cuts it. It's not like somebody's out there, having to figure that out. And so it's so technical. It'd be so interesting too, is like Freris, what a great example of the next step, and how you're creating, panels that are stronger than steel out of wood fiber. This ain't your grandpa's piece of plywood anymore.
Right.
This ain't CDX 5.75-inch CDX anymore. This is like tough stuff. So you guys could bring some real knowledge, because I think part of the problem that we have in the industry is people not knowing. And a lot of I think the old timber people, you didn't talk about what you did. And I think that has become a problem. And so the more we talk about and tell people the wonderful and amazing things you're doing, not only with your employees and that kind of stuff, but with wood products, they start seeing, most people don't realize that wood fiber is in toothpaste. So, you want to do without that, my friends, there's a lot of stuff you guys could do. So that it gives you a big open field,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like the lumber industry is known to not be very good at marketing themselves. And that's really hurt us in the long run with kind of the narrative about the lumber industry. And so I think that was another facet of Natalie and I, and sometimes when we're planning out our episodes, is just, bringing that awareness to the industry, making lumber sexy again, and, really attracting talent to this industry is very important to the sustainability of it. So that, in 5 years, I'm hoping that we're doing more of the same. And like Natalie said, just growing it even more. Again, we do this because of passion. We're not like making tons of money or anything. We are accepting sponsorships if you're interested, but we have Wood Source Denver as our first sponsor. Go Wood Source.
Oh, you have a sponsor?
We do.
Yes.
Yeah. It's our inaugural sponsor. But I think that what we've done so far has really paid out more than her and I maybe realize. We'll be at events and somebody will come up to us and say that they listened to an episode that really helped them with something. And so I think the impact of just helping even one, green lumber trader in the industry that's trying to learn something, for me, like, that goal accomplished, because it's something I wish I had. And so if it's paying off in that way, then we're doing exactly what we set out to do.
So not that this is your motivation, but do you think I think, I know it's hard to get people into the timber industry anymore, with logging and that kind of thing too. I would think that you guys talking about stuff might encourage people, like Mike Rose on a big, campaign to get the trades jobs up. And I think that's not your motivation, but I think it could be a sidebar, where when people start going, that's cool, I didn't know that there were jobs like that, or you could do things like that. And
that's exactly it. A lot of people don't know. We need all the same types of talent that you have in many other industries, engineers, tech, accounting, finance. I mean, you have people, it's not all just green chain, which is just as essential and important, but there's a lot of opportunity in our industry, and we need talent to just keep bringing it into the next, century.
So Natalie, what do you think would be like? What would be what's the topic that's in your head that you're thinking, I really want to do something on this? Do you have one?
Right now, do I have one? Well, actually, I'm going to steal Chelsea's, because she just mentioned, I think it was today, that we need to redo our points episode, which is why I mentioned it, because it's old. It's a couple of years old. And I also think we could probably update our networking. We have like a networking 101. We get asked that quite a bit because we go to a lot of conferences and shows, and kind of, what do you do when you don't know what to do at those type of events? So we have a couple, and then we have a couple guests that we need to have back on. Actually, one of the Ferreras brothers we have on our to-do list. So we got to get them back on.
So what do like when you go to a networking thing, Chelsea? I know you're like the queen of net.
I learned everything I know from her. She's the pro.
Like if you were to give somebody 2 or 3 tips, what would you give them? Like when you go to an event and you're nervous and you're thinking, oh shit, I don't want to do this. Where's the Jack Daniels?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny. I just talked to a gal a couple weeks ago. She's like, it's my first. We're all going to NALA next week. It's North American Wholesale Lumber Association annual trader meeting is taking place in Kansas City next week. And I new into the industry girl called me, asked me, what do you have any advice for me? And I don't think you should get too in your head, but definitely have a plan before you go. You don't want to waste company time and resources on just, you know, I mean, those things are a whirlwind. There's a lot to do, a lot to see. You can get pulled in 100 directions. So I like to take those notepads that hotels have and write down like my 3 goals, maybe 1, 2, or 3, not too many. Don't be like putting too much pressure on yourself, but have some goals. And when you go back to your hotel room at night, you can see, did I accomplish this? Did I meet this person that I wanted to meet? Did I stop by this booth? Take it. I always tell new people into the industry, your reputation always follows you. If you get sloppy drunk at your first networking industry event, that follows you for a long time. So have a fun time, but just know your boundaries and don't get too carried away, because some people are still wiping that from my memory. I don't want to buy lumber from them. So, and that's just like, sorry, like you made a bad impression on me. So, and maybe that's just me. Like I like to have a nice time. I like to have a drink. So don't put too much pressure on yourself there, but just remember, people are watching, even if you think that they're not watching you.
Right.
And dress for the job that you want. Show up and be professional, be excited, have good energy. It will transfer. People are watching. And these events are awesome because you have people from all over in one spot, and this is your one opportunity to make something happen. So just, don't let that time pass you by. Just take full advantage.
Yeah, I went to one last year for sponsors for the timber program, and that I do, and that was the main purpose of going, and it ended up I got 3 sponsors out of it.
That's awesome.
It took another 6 months, but they've all come on board, and it all started with, and I think people don't understand the value of that. It was,
Yeah.
And I did like you're saying. I said I got to meet 3 people. And I already knew one, and it was just the way it worked. It was just like this, and just like when I came up to see you guys, I met with one person, and that was my another sponsor. But it all came from 6 months ago. That
Right.
meeting.
And some of those opportunities can take 2 years before they turn into a transaction. And just knowing that you're playing the long game and building the relationship. It's how you do it, is getting face to face. And I think a lot of, especially with technology, we lose the human element. And so these networking events are really awesome because you get in front of people. You can kind of also hear what the pulse of the industry is, how people are feeling about the next year, what's coming, what are the trends that are happening. So it really could light a match that maybe you don't see, the fire it's set for a couple months, but it's an incredible opportunity if you can get face to face with some of these decision makers.
So how important are you guys to each other in your world?
Very
important.
Video today. You guys are like,
well, she hasn't named me her child's godmother yet, but I have been waiting. So
Kelsey,
she's definitely.
what?
I mean, she's
You know
on
what?
it.
Oh, hold on. She's out of here.
kick her out. That'll teach
kick her out. You're out of here. None of that stuff. Good Lord. Let's just make that happen right now.
All right, let's sign it over. Got my Patrick Lumber paper.
Get the christening outfit out. We're going for this.
If it makes her feel any better, just because I'm not Catholic, but I she would be, but she's also the emergency contact on all the doctor's forms. On top of me and Adam being there, she's the call. So I don't know if I've told you that, but
no, I didn't know that. Wow.
I think she's getting emotional here.
Yeah, I'm gonna tear up a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, no, but you guys really are close. And I think that, I've always said that, like, I worked for a company, well, they're no longer living, so that doesn't matter if I talk about them because they're dead. But the dysfunction at the top filtered its way all the way down to the bottom. And it didn't matter if you had a good manager here, it would buffer it a little bit. But when all this was messed up, it creeped its way through. And so the fact that you guys are, I know there's somebody above you too, but you were saying even he works so well with you guys. And when you have that kind of, that's that 3-chord kind of thing that holds together. I think people sense that, don't you think?
I
Oh, for
think
sure. Yeah.
what's
I
funny is when we first started, well, when we met at Patrick Lumber, so we didn't know each other before work, and we just obviously became fast friends, and we've been, 12 years now, I think. But a lot of people used to tell us, like, you guys need to probably hide your friendship. You can't let people know your friends, like at work. And it's interesting advice because now we don't care, and we're like, but we are who we are, and this is what it is, and we're still, we are really good friends. We still have boundaries, and we still have, different things. But it's interesting that that used to be the advice that we got.
yeah.
Isn't that, and really the bond that makes it work is showing people your friendship, allowing people into just being real. I mean, not trying to,
I
Right.
think the nice thing is Natalie and I don't always agree. We're not just like drinking Kool-Aid together. We actually have honest conversations where I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that, or I don't know if we should go that direction. And her too. And so we have to have good communication, especially as business partners, because we're working towards the same goal at Patrick Lumber, to grow the company, to see it through the next generation, to help ensure that our employees have what they need to do their job. And so I think we don't always agree. It's not always, but I think her and I have a respect for each other where we can communicate, we see the long-term vision, and we want ultimately to do business together, be in business together. And so with that as the end goal, we're always going to figure a way to work it out. And I've been, where you can tell that there's disagreement at the top, and it adds just nothing, like it does nothing good for a culture. It makes everybody nervous. It makes everybody sit on pins and needles. I worked through the recession, and it was a really scary time at the company. I mean, you just never knew what was going on in the meeting room. You never know who was talking about what decisions were being made. And I think culturally that's really changed in our company. A lot of the same leaders are there. They've just changed the way that they communicate, and that they're transparent with us, with the employees. And so I think we've seen the benefit of that in our entire company morale and culture, and we realized how important that is. And Natalie and I, one thing about us that I do appreciate is we're very interested in leadership development, and so we do a lot of that outside of work, and like what makes a good leader and what makes a company successful. And that's a lot of extracurricular, work that we're actually really interested in and passionate about. So it's kind of fun to do together, that we both have that common interest, to like throw those ideas off of each other with.
Because you came in, Chelsea, you came in as a receptionist and
Yeah.
just kind of, I mean, everybody has, don't you think it's, isn't it kind of fun to go back when you get to, you're almost to your 40s and, you're not that old but you can look back and go, here's where I had to push. And if I could be this person, just think what's going to happen in 20 years. I mean, if you're this sure of yourself, and I know you have insecurities, we all do, that kind. But when you've seen what you can do with changing a culture and what it does for a business, let's think what you could do in the future. You know what I mean?
Well,
That is
I think we
exciting.
can say we can see what works and what doesn't work,
Yeah.
and evolving with that, because it's not always going to be the same. I think one dangerous area you can get stuck in is what has worked, is expected to work tomorrow, and it's not always that way. This is the way we've always done it, doesn't mean this is the way it should be now, and that's
Yeah.
not working anymore. And being able to admit when that time is really big.
And listening. I mean, I think it's so important. Like when I came to Patrick Lumber, I had all these big ideas. I was so excited, all these things I wanted to do. And so did Chelsea. And we've seen a lot of those things through. And now, like Chelsea said, we can't get stuck in those ways. Like that, we will just become what was. And so we have to keep our ear to the ground. We have to be knowing everyone's name at the mill, saying hi to employees, having relationships with employees, because otherwise, how are we going to know what's important to them? I mean, gosh, this was like 2 years ago. We're like, okay, I think we should change our healthcare rates because, it's too expensive. And someone else was like, no, I think we should give employees a boot benefit. I think we should. And finally, I was like, why don't we just ask the employees? Why are we deciding this at a conference room table when we're not the ones even getting the benefit? This is crazy. And so I try to like continuously remember I am not going to have the best idea most of the time.
Well, but yeah, okay. So now get out your pencil because I got ideas for your topics. So there's listening, the importance of listening. That would be a
It's
good
just like an
podcast.
empty episode that has just air the whole time.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so the importance of listening and that little thing you just talked about there, because so many businesses could benefit from that. You know what I mean? I could see this Lumber Slingers becoming, that's the name, and its focus is, some timber stuff. But I think you could do some really good coaching of people to go, and then looking at, you could do a whole episode on flexibility.
Mhm.
You could do flexibility, listening, and then I think it would be super interesting to people. One, culture change, the downfalls and the pitfalls that you went through to get that to happen. But then also the dynamic of two people, of the upper management working together as closely as you do. That'd be another great topic. Do you like my topic so far?
Yeah.
Love them.
Okay. And then I have one more idea for you. I think you should have this really cool, nice, charming man named Rick Dancer on your show and let him come talk about the Truth About Timber series that he does. I mean, he's a really nice guy. I'm his agent. I do all of his work stuff. He's a little obnoxious and hard to deal with sometimes, but for the most part, he's a pretty decent human being. Don't look at what you see online, but he would be a really good guest to have on to talk about his project and what he's doing. It's just an idea. I mean, you guys don't have
Okay. Well, if you could just what was his name?
his name's let me deal with him. He's kind of a pain in the ass. His mother said from a long time. His mother once was quoted saying, Rick, you're not everyone's cup of tea. So that's what it is. No, I'd love to come on your show and talk about it. And then you guys ask me.
Absolutely.
I want you to ask me the questions. That'd be super fun.
We'd love to have you on.
Okay, so tell people again, to wrap it up, what the name is, how they find it, and that kind of thing.
We are Lumber Slingers. You could find our website is lumberslingers.com. Our podcast is published to, it's distributed through Apple and Spotify and anywhere you listen to your podcast, really. We're also on YouTube. You could watch our episodes there. So did I miss anything, Nat?
No. We're excited that we have live videos, not live, but videos, I should just say, on YouTube, because we were only audio for a very long time and now we're video. So
yes, we got onto the YouTubes. So not a big deal.
We're young.
Well, good. Well, I'm gonna let Natalie go on, and I don't want to embarrass you, but you can read Brian's comment about the pretty blonde person on there. Yes, we have two very attractive women running this company. Yes, we do. The audience is noticing that. Oh, now he's laughing.
Hi, Brian.
Really? LOL. You guys, I really had fun with you, and I'm working hard to get this story out and stuff, but you make it complicated because Nick told me he wants these like shorter and stuff, and now I keep going in this thing and I'm going, I need that. I gotta have that one, and I need that one. So I may have to. I think I'm going to lose some of my points that I made with him because I'm going to have one longer story, and then he's going to go, well, and I say, but them, you said too many good things, and it was fun.
Tell Nick that we want a longer episode. Also, Nick's been on our podcast two times,
and I haven't had a call.
You're next, Rick.
You didn't know who I was. I'm a nobody to the Lumber Slingers.
Well, now we know, so there's no going back.
All right, you guys, it has been really fun having you on here, and you guys share this on your page, let other people know, and then we'll be looking for your Lumber Slingers and what you're doing, and write down those topics. And if they are highly successful, I only take 10% off of them.
Perfect.
Well, that's great because we owe money right now, so we'll give you a little bit of the debt.
Hey, Rick, want to be a partner? Sure. Okay. Well, now you got to do so. You got to invest this amount of money because we owe.
I think what I heard was Rick Dancer wants to be a sponsor, so let's go.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. I'll talk to you later. Thanks,
you, Rick.
Thank you so much for having us.
See you
Bye-bye.
later. See, so aren't they cool? I get to go do some really fun stuff. And what's fun about my job, my life, is I'm kind of like they are. I adore human beings. And when I'm on a story, I used to say when I was a news guy, I'd say, when I go on a story, I want to take a little piece of the people that I was with because I think God puts us on this earth to do this. This is what we're supposed to do. And so I want to leave a little bit of myself behind, and I'm going to take a little bit of them in my life. And so by the time you're done, like I probably interviewed 20,000 people in my life. Well, I think when I get to my last day and I take my last breath and I end up with God, he's going to look and go, look at all those people that are inside of your life. Every single one makes me want to cry. Every single one of those people has a place in your life, and they helped me make you who you are today. So the keys they were talking about, listening to people. And then I think also listening to that little voice in your head that tells you when not to pay attention to what people are saying about you. There's a very fine line there. You need to listen to people to get things, but you also need to not take what they say to heart all the time, because people will say very nasty things sometimes. So those are little things you can do. And then be flexible. You know what I mean? What worked yesterday is not going to work tomorrow. So don't keep banging on the same drum. You have to reinvent yourself every day. Wake up in the morning and say, who not core, but how can I make myself, I'm 66 years old, and I listen to all the young people in my life, and there's a ton of them, and I do what they tell me, and I've stayed relevant. Well, somewhat relevant, but that's how you do it. You change. You're willing to change. I'm Rick Dancer. Share this on your page. Let people know about this, and have a great week. And we will be back next week. I'm already starting to fill up. I cannot believe you guys. This week, just on my social media pages, we're but we have 9 million views on all of our social media stuff. So I also have a little page that is, what is it called? Patrons Club. I'm starting a pay for, so you're getting extra content. You can go on any of my Facebook pages and find how to link onto it. But it's called the Patrons Club. It's $12 a month, and you can come on, and we're just going to do some other things. We're going to do some town halls where I get to have you on with me, and we're going to talk about stuff, because this is like a one-sided conversation sometimes. So I want you in here too. I want to hear what you think. I know what I think, and sometimes it drives me crazy. So check that out. See if you want to become a member. Come on in. Like I said, it's $12 a month, but it's no pressure. I'm still writing on my other channels. I'm just putting more personal stuff on there that all those nasty little trolls don't get access to. So all those little trolls that want to, take that one little thing you say and say, but I thought you said this. I don't need that. So that kind of material is going on there, the really personal stuff. So anyway, well, it's been good being with you guys, and I'm glad you got to meet my new friends. So anyway, check out their podcast, Lumber Slingers. We need a theme song, like a music. Boom, 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 boom. Something kind of, well, that's not my job. I'm not that thing. See you guys later. Good night.